I'm sorry it's been a little while since I launched that poll, but I'm here now to react to your votes on who you want to see join the Crash Team Racing Spyro Grand Prix. And then after that, to prove I'm sorry, as a bonus we'll also talk about the recent data mine and what Spyro characters we can actually expect to see and my thoughts on them. Oh, by the way, it's not as though I've been doing bugger all YouTube wise, it's just that I've got a big CTR project I want to release before the end of this week that literally eats time. It's very dangerous for the universe as we know it. So I asked you to vote for what character you most wanted to join the CTR roster in the Spyro Grand Prix. Now, because we already discussed the characters of Spyro, Hunter, Moneybags, Ripto and the Sorceress in the lead-up video, which you should go and check out if you've not already seen it, it's very good, you were voting for either Gnasty Gnorc, Bianca, Elora, the Professor or Agent 9 in this poll. 119 of you fantastic people voted, so thank you so much if you're one of them, and if you didn't manage to vote this time, then I hope your favourite Spyro character doesn't come to CTR. Nah, I'm joking, we launch Crash and Spyro polls regular, so keep a lookout and maybe vote next time, because every vote really does matter. Anyway, let's dive into number 5. From your votes, in at number 5 today is the Professor, who only managed a mere 7% of the vote. The Professor, who made his first appearance in Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, really struggled in this poll, and I've also not really seen anyone else say they particularly want him in the game either, so he doesn't seem to be a popular choice at all. To be fair, although I think he'd fit a kart racer reasonably well, from the 5 options on offer in this poll, I think he would have been 5th on my list too, so it's no real surprise it's been a bad day at the office for him. In 4th place today, we've got Agent 9, who attained 10% of the vote. I think Agent 9 is a pretty quirky character in Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, so I was slightly surprised he didn't take a greater portion of the vote. As you can probably tell, I quite like Agent 9. In fact, Agent 9's lab is probably one of my favourite levels in the Reignited trilogy. Maybe because he's got a gun, I don't know. But the fact just 1 in 10 of you voted for him is sort of surprising for me. If a couple more of you had have done so, he could easily have challenged the next character on this list. In at number 3 today is Gnasty Gnorc. Alright, I'll say it properly, it's Gnasty Gnorc. Anyway, the villain from the first Spyro game managed to take 14% of your votes and take the bottom step on the podium. Yeah, just 7% separated last place and a place on the podium, so remember for future polls, all of your votes count. When we first considered making videos on the characters in the Spyro Grand Prix, Gnasty Gnorc was one of the first names that jumped to our heads. Although not quite our favourite villain, I think that title has to go to Ripto, he was the original, and by the sounds of things, there's a pretty good chance he will actually be in the game, but more on that later. Moving up a place on the podium now to 2nd, and jumping just 5% in the vote is Bianca, who achieved 19% of your votes. Spyro got off on the wrong foot with Clementine, no, sorry, I mean Bianca. At first, she was working for the Sorceress, but eventually, she turned out not to be that bad. Ultimately, she's quite a feisty and charming character, and most people probably learned to love her by the end of the game. Regarding the poll, I think she did rather well. Although 19% isn't that great a share of the vote, to come 2nd place and beat Gnasty Gnorc can be considered a good result in my opinion. So I'm sure you've been doing the maths and have probably figured out by now that if 2nd place only managed 19%, then we've got to have a clear winner with a massive share of the vote. And we do. In 1st place with 50% of your votes is Elora. Elora is quite responsible for bringing Spyro to Avalar in the first place in Spyro 2's Ripto's Rage to fight Ripto, but before we know it, she seems to have a crush on the purple dragon. It's a little bit of a shame that she never reappears in the Spyro series, but hopefully, if we finally get the sequel that the Spyro trilogy deserves, maybe she will return and can develop her relationship with Spyro. Either way, you people clearly want Elora in CTR, and I don't blame you. So both us here on the channel and yourselves at home by voting on the poll and leaving your suggestions have speculated on what characters we would like to see join the CTR roster in the Spyro Grand Prix. But just who in reality can we expect to see join the roster? Well, courtesy of the trusted data miner Beta M, we may just have a better idea. Beta M uncovered a whopping 18 new characters in the game's data, including characters such as Komodo Mo, Koala Kong, Nina Cortex, Rillaroo, and Pasadena Opossum. But there was also 5 characters from the Spyro universe, these being Spyro, Hunter, Gnasty Gnorc, Ripto, and the Sorceress. Now, although as Canadian Gaia discussed in a recent video, all 18 of these characters probably aren't set in stone. In our opinion, with the Spyro Grand Prix just 2 seasons away, it's likely that the 5 Spyro characters just mentioned will be the ones joining the roster, which is kind of weird because if you look back at our video discussing the 5 characters that could join the CTR roster, 4 of them were in that video. And you know what's even weirder? If I hadn't changed the original list my friend Jake suggested so that we had a boss on the poll we just covered, Gnasty Gnorc would have been in the original video instead of Moneybags, and it would have been all 5. Now either that's very lucky, or perhaps my friend Jake has got some dark forces at work. Nah, I'm just being dramatic, we just said Spyro, Hunter and the bosses. What do I think of the proposed 5 though? Well, although I love the fact Spyro characters will be in CTR, there's definitely at least one alteration I'd make to that 5. Maybe 2. Spyro, Hunter, Ripto, great. They've got to be in there. Gnasty Gnorc is on the fringes for me, but the Sorceress, although she'd be in my top 10, my top 5 I'm not so sure about, and I'm confident I'm not alone with that. In all honesty, I would much rather have Elora or Bianca in there. They are both clearly popular with fans, Elora especially, just look at the poll, and it's easy to form an attachment to characters you work with rather than those you fight against, so I really do feel as though they'd be more fun to play as. Yes, I know Ripto is a villain and we fight against him, but he's a reoccurring character in the Spyro universe, and for me, the ultimate Spyro villain. It just feels sort of strange to have more villains than allies in there, but in the end I'll have a great time playing as any Spyro character, so I should probably just stop moaning. What do you think though? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll also leave a poll on the community post where you can vote for who you'd rather see out of Gnasty Gnorc, the Sorceress, Elora and Bianca. Yeah, I know Elora has already wiped the floor with Bianca once, but I want to see just how they both stack up against the bosses who are likely to join the roster. So I hope you enjoyed this video discussing the Spyro characters we can expect to join the CTR Nitro-Fueled roster, and also a few of them which it's looking like will sadly miss out. What do you think though? Leave the top 5 you'd like to see down in the comments, and also any thoughts on the game, the Grand Prix or this video. If you have enjoyed today, be sure to stick around for plenty more CTR content coming in the next few weeks, including a piece on the track we'd like to see in the Spyro Grand Prix. Also, please do share this with a friend, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for plenty more Crash and Spyro videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon.